Welcome, guys. Welcome to Team Freestyle Build Strong Training. It is Monday, the 16th of July, 2018, and we have come off the back of an amazing weekend. I know we got to share that with probably 50 freestylers here on the Gold Coast. We had the one and only Eric Warre in town. If you guys don't know who Eric Warre is, he wrote the most incredible, probably not the first book, actually played golf also today with the first book that I ever read around network marketing. His name is Richard Brooks. So Richard Brooks' book was the first book I read. And the second book I ever read was GoPro by Eric Warre, not the video cameras, but GoPro, the 7 steps to building a network marketing, a success, something like that. 7 steps to building a successful network marketing business. So I'd certainly encourage you guys that you go out there, find that book. If you get an opportunity to come to any Eric Warre events, I would encourage you guys to do that. Is there anything you wanted to share, babe, about the weekend? What did you love about, what was your big takeaway about the weekend?
Big takeaway.
I didn't ask
Still digesting a lot of
Yeah.
it, to be honest. But I think the big takeaway was just vision. For me, obviously, we're in a different place in our business now, but for me, it's our next level vision of where we get to take you guys next in this business, which is really exciting, and how we can continue to expand what's available to you guys. And we're actually off to a very small group leadership training this week with Eric, which is exciting because we're going to be able to bring so much more back to you. But yeah, what I think the most powerful thing about his events is that it's all the nitty-gritty how-to stuff. It's not, just about being inspired and lighting that fire. It's hearing from industry leaders in all different companies and hearing what's working for them. And Eric's been in this industry for so long, and he's seen, he's seen so much. He's seen the changes. He was around before social media. He's, been through the social media craze, and he just has a wealth of knowledge to offer. So it was pretty amazing. We've been convinced to come back next year as long as we, all the leaders here in the industry can gather their people, and we're just excited to absolutely couldn't recommend it enough. It's going to be the 9th and 10th of August next year. So you guys might want to just highlight it in your calendars now and just set some intention around, where would your business have to be for that to be possible? I just couldn't speak highly enough. And maybe if you were there, you can pop in the chat what you really loved about it, because we definitely had loads of team there, and every single one of them were like, oh my God, that was a game changer. And
I can also let you guys know that Team Freestyle leaders, your Team Freestyle 39 club leaders have already put their hands up to say that we are going to get 100 tickets amongst us. We're just working out the logistics on how to do that. So if you're like, you know what, I would love to get my ticket at the cheapest possible rate and I just want to lock it in now, then I want to encourage you guys, reach out to the first upline 39 club leader in your team and say, hey, I'd love a ticket. Can you get me one? I'm happy to at the best possible rate. This will be the best possible rate. I wanted to share with you, I can share what I did today, right? Yeah. I'm pretty excited about this. Guys, honestly, you get what you ask for in life. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but I had the opportunity to speak at the GoPro event over the weekend. And while I was at the event, I did share through the event that I love playing golf. And Eric kind of shared how he loved playing golf too. So I decided that after I got off stage, I thought I would ask him, you want to have a game of golf? And so he said yes. And I can tell you guys, if you didn't see today on the Network Marketing Pro Facebook page, he did a Facebook Live because there was kangaroos out on my golf course today. But I took Eric Warre and Richard Brooks out for a game of golf with myself and Brian Marsh today. It was honestly amazing. And I want to share with you guys my takeaway is that, you know what? And he said this a lot at GoPro, but we are, like, Kira and I are so excited about taking this team to a level that has never, ever been seen before in the Juice Plus community. Driving from the golf course and dropping Eric back at the hotel tonight, he said to me, what are your goals? What is your goals in the next 12 months? And then what are your goals in the next 5 years? And, to be able to proudly say to him that I want this to be as big as anyone's ever seen ever in the Juice Plus community. And I want to take this team all the way to have one of the most powerful teams that have ever been seen in network marketing. So I want to just remind you guys that we are here for the long haul. We are here. We're not retiring anytime soon. We're so committed to take this thing next level. What drives us to continue to sow into you guys is certainly the contribution, the impact that we can make in so many levels. It's crazy. And
your energy fuels our energy, because honestly, I think we're going to be busier than we ever have been before. Yeah. But it's the energy from you guys showing up and being a part of the mission that drives us and inspires us to keep going.
Yeah, it's just, today was an amazing experience, there's no doubt, to hang out with Eric and, for him to, on the drive home, go, oh, look at my private jet, and just to, set a barrier. It's like, what? You've got a private jet that says GoPro on it? That's crazy. And he doesn't share that out of arrogance. He shares that out of inspiration to inspire, buddy, it's time, we're all playing way too small, that we can take all our lives to the next level if we really want to. And it's all about just raising the bar and setting a higher standard for ourselves. And so, if you guys don't feel it yet, we're ready to take this thing next level, even though we're already doing that. But we're really inspired. We're excited about the next 12 months. One of our goals, I think we've already told you guys, but we want to make sure that there's at least 1,000 FreeStyle members, bums on seat at the Melbourne conference next year. And I just think we can do that so easily. I just think we can totally do that. And to have at least 100 in that GoPro event next year, I just can't see why we can't have 200 in that GoPro event next year and really rocking it and really just showing Australia who this team is and what we're up for and the culture and the energy and the heart that this team has. It's pretty crazy. So it was an amazing day. I wish you guys all could have been there. But I think my thing is this, guys. You never know until you ask in life. And, if it's in your Juice Plus business or just asking yourself what's possible in my life and saying, this is what I want and I've decided I'm going to go get it. I just want to encourage you guys to do that, because these opportunities in life that come up when you kind of step out of your comfort zone. And it was daunting for me, the daunting of no, buddy, I don't want to play golf with you, or I don't have time with you, or whatever it was. So I want to encourage you guys to play full out and go for it. So somebody who's certainly played full out and gone for it over the last 12 months, someone who has certainly become a dear friend of ours also in the last 12 months, and someone that most of you guys, I think, are going to know, is not only one of the top performers in Team FreeStyle over the last 12 months, but she was also Juice Plus Australia Rookie of the Year and also Juice Plus Franchisee Australia of the Year is Ann Simson, and she's our guest tonight. So it's awesome to have you on, Ann. So how are you, girl?
I'm good. Oh my God, that's my big face. Hold on, I want to see everyone. I don't want to see myself, but I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, we're really good. So maybe we can start with this. I know most of the people know your story, but maybe you can give us a little bit of insight. How long you've been in Juice Plus? What was it about this? And that kind of attracted you to it, and what has it been for you over the last 12 months?
Well, I've been in it now 16 months. I just worked out at the end of this month. And I laugh because originally I was definitely one of those people that was like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. And I remember on the weekend, Eric Warren was saying, people will see you at the shopping centre and they'll run into Foot Locker because they don't want to talk to you. And I remember I would sometimes see Kira and I'd be like, oh my God, I wonder if she's going to try and talk to me about this Juice Plus thing. I'd be like, oh my God, do I hide? What do I do? What if she brings it up? Because I didn't know, I had this preconceived notion that network marketing people were crazy and they would jump on you. But no, I ended up seeing the light eventually, obviously. And I probably came in the best way for me. I got on the product. I was really, really unwell after giving birth to my second daughter. I was super depleted, and I'd heard about Juice Plus, and I knew that Kira was really into health, and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy the product, but there's no way I would do that business. And I got home with it. Kira dropped it over one day, and I put it on the kitchen bench, and my husband was like, oh my gosh, you're going to do that network marketing thing. And I was like, no, I'm not. That's for like weirdos and people who say they've got lots of money. And here I was thinking that Adam and Kira had like other businesses. And then, yeah, I spoke to Kira one day, and she was like, no, this is it. And we make really good money, and we impact a lot of people. And I was in. I was struggling, as you guys know. I was struggling a lot with the business, my health coaching business. I was really struggling with the fact that I had to really show up and, as Adam says, trade time for dollars, and especially with a 6-week-old baby, that was just not fun. So this made a lot of sense when I came into it, and now this is all I do. I don't coach anymore. I don't even write on my blog. I'm just a Juice Plus girl. I just do network marketing, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my whole entire life. So
where is it? Oh, it's over there.
I'm just going to mute it. Just make
So
sure
let's
you're
start
mute.
right there.
Debbie, mute. Ange, I want to ask you this. You suffered from a little syndrome in the beginning, though, or even though you came into the business and you kind of heard what Kira was up to. Like, I just want to give you guys, like, Ange went to the snobby girls' school here on the Gold Coast. She had lots of reason why she developed this syndrome over the years that she did. She only hung out with only the uber cool. Her husband was a lawyer and all that stuff, right? So this syndrome of, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of a syndrome called ITC. Some of you guys might have it still and you haven't got over it totally. But this syndrome, ITC, is called the I'm too cool syndrome. And Ange definitely had a bit of ITC when she came into the business. So Ange, tell us.
So did Adam, by the way.
No, I didn't. I own this shit right from the beginning. She still got it sometimes. But so I want to ask Ange, like, yes, you had ITC, but what helped you get over the I'm too cool? What was that moment where, because you weren't fully in the beginning, right? It took you like 3 or 4 months. And I think sometimes we can get a little bit, we get a new team member and we kind of get impatient that they're not like out of the blocks in a minute, but we all need time, right?
Yeah. I think, I don't think I was too cool. I think I was just afraid of being judged, and I was afraid of like.
I don't think you're cool.
No, I know I'm cool. No. No, I was afraid of being, judged. I was afraid, I would lose friends. I was afraid of what people would say and think of me. And then I still remember it, and I tell Kira this all the time. It was September last year, and in August I did nothing. Like in August, my business was like, I didn't bring on any team. I didn't get any new customers. Like my girls under me were doing a little bit, but I was like floundering, like, I don't know, working on other stuff. And yeah, I remember having a beach walk with her, and she kind of she slapped some sense into me. Not literally, obviously, she's not that aggressive, but she kind of just said to me, like, what are you doing? Like this could be, and, she kind of mapped out what this could have been for me. And, my whole thing was, yeah, but I can do that as well. And I can do coaching, and I can create these programs, and can do all these things. And, the way that Kira has always explained it to me is the more people that you help with this, the more money you make. So if you're making good money, it's because you're impacting a lot of people. And as a coach, I could only make as much money as the hours I could put into a day. And I just sort of had this moment of like, what, you're right. Like, what are you doing? And I remember seeing, I know you guys showed me or told me about when Caitlin retired her husband. And I remember you guys got a text message of the video, and I kind of like saw a little bit of it over your shoulder one night at dinner, and I was crying, and I was like, oh my gosh, like imagine if I could introduce someone to this business, and in a year I could be watching them do the same thing, or in a year I could, I've said this a million times, my 2 best friends in this business, both of them are married to Michaels, and I want to retire both of their Michaels, but, like what if I introduce someone to this business, and in a year from now or 2 years from now, I get to see or hear the same news. I get kind of emotional thinking about it, sorry. But like I could get a call from Emma or Kate one day and they're saying, you know what, like Mike's retiring today, or he's sent in his resignation and we get him back. And, I started having all these thoughts of what I could, I could be the catalyst for that. I could facilitate that change in people's lives. And I was like, I'm being so selfish. Like I was just being so, it was all about me before that. It was about what are people going to think of me, and, what's going to happen to, the people in my life, how are they going to look at me? And when I started thinking about what was going to happen for the people I could help, the people who were willing to have change in their life, like everything changed for me in my business. I was like, I'm playing full out. And that's when it all kind of started.
It's awesome. A good slap.
Adam, you did nothing.
A good slap down the beach. So I want to ask you this: like, people look at you, and you were awarded Franchisee of the Year, and you have nice hair, and you've always seemed to have good lighting and all this stuff. And it would be easy to say, well, she's got all this stuff. No wonder she's been able to do what she's done. I'm not sure if you guys know, but over the last 12 months, Ange, I was just looking at Kate and Emma chatting here, but Ange has recruited almost 50 new team in 12 months, guys. I just want to say that again. That's 50 in 12 months, which is phenomenal. But it's only 14 members a month, right? If you want to just break it down, like we say 50 is amazing, but it is only 4 a month. It's only 1 a week. She's actually recruited just less than 1 new team member every week for the last 52 weeks, which is a phenomenal effort. But it is 1 and only every 7 days, which I know Ange has raised the bar. And so, Ange, I want to ask, people want to compare themselves and say, I can't go at that pace and doing that. Like, you've worked really hard to get where you are, right?
Not really. It's been super easy.
Yeah, right. Okay. Can you I want people to understand that you are putting in lots of work. And if you want what you've done, like I know you kind of shared that a little bit then, like you kind of you didn't burn the bridges, but you decided I'm all in on this and I've got to stop riding 100 different freaking horses to get to the destination. I just got to ride one. Like, what does that look like for someone while they transition through what they're doing? Because you couldn't stop doing everything in the beginning. How did you manage that? I haven't asked you to answer this question, but I think it's a really good question.
Look, I think that one thing that I had, and Eric kind of touched on this yesterday when he asked a girl to promise her monthly wage to her ex-boyfriend if she didn't hit her goal. And, one thing that we have that not everyone has is we have a whole lot of pressure. Like we don't, my husband doesn't work anymore. We made a decision to retire him for the sake of his health. And so like our income relies on what we can do as a couple, but primarily because of my following and what I've created on what I can create and what I can do. So I don't have the choice to say, you know what, I feel a bit sick today and I don't really feel like doing anything. And I don't have the choice to not show up, which it's very hard sometimes because some days I want to do what normal people do and I want to be like, I just want a day off and I want to call in sick, but we can't because we're replacing a multiple 6-figure income that he was making that we chose to give away. So I have the pressure of that on this business now. So I had no choice but to be 100% obsessed with this. And to the point that I go to bed every night thinking about this. My laptop's next to my bed. I know it's not good for my health, but I sit on my laptop in bed and I do work. I get on my phone when I wake up first thing in the morning, even though that's one of the things I tell everyone not to do. As a health coach, I'm like, keep your phone out of your room. But as soon as I wake up, I say to Hugh, I need my phone, and I get on my phone and I start working. And I work this like it's a job. I sit here for hours every single day and I do what I've got to do. But I work smart because I'm also a mum and I need to be there for my kids. When 3 o'clock hits, I want to be spending time with them. I don't want to be like, okay, well, I didn't finish things because I was effing around on Pinterest all day looking for the prettiest post, or I was scrolling Instagram to see what my best friends doing on a holiday in Bali or Europe at the moment. You know, I had to become so obsessed. And I think that I know, and you all know, that nothing great comes from dabbling. Like, great things come when people are so obsessed what they want to create and what they want to do. So I had to become obsessed, and we'll joke about juice plus brain damage, but then, you know, you have an off day or someone tells you that, you know, you're doing network marketing and that's for losers, and you disappear for a few weeks or a few days or however long. And, you know, I think we just didn't have that choice. I didn't have that choice. And so I did have to throw everything into this, and I had to be so teachable. And as much as sometimes I wanted to be like, couldn't I try something new? I was like, no, they have a system. I'm going to follow it because they've got what I want. And so I'm going to do what they did, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome. Did you want to ask anything?
We could do what Eric does. Give us 3 minutes of your best content.
No,
no I'm kidding.
I
want to do what, you know, I'll wing it.
I want to share this, you know, and I don't want this not to be about you, Ange, but I wanted to share with you guys something interesting. Today, you know, I sat in a golf cart for 5 hours with Eric Warre today, and certainly I interrogated him some of the questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? And I said to him, honestly, if you really want to take your business to the next level, what do you see is the most important thing to do? And he said the one thing he said to me, he's got no doubt that the one thing, and I think, you know, this is Ange, and certainly when I've seen businesses really pop and go to the next level, they're doing that, is that they went just into a mega recruitment mode. And recruitment's a word that I don't love, but you're going like, I'm going to team build my ass off. I'm going to team build my ass off for the next 60 days. I'm just going to get super focused. I'm going to set myself an intention, and I'm going to go and I'm going to say to you guys, pick a number that scares the bejeebers out of you, that you think, oh my goodness, I haven't recruited that many people in like 6 months, but I'm going to decide to do that in the next 60 days. I'm just going to go. And then you got to ask yourself, what would I be prepared to do? What am I prepared to do if that was to happen? You know, think about what it would mean to you even financially to go and recruit 10, 15, 20. You guys could definitely, I know I'm on the Eric Warre bandwagon right now, but you guys could go and find the Eric Warre 20 in 30 days. So it's recruit 20 people in 30 days video. You could check out some framework around that. You might not want to play at that level, but you could say, okay, what version of this? Like you guys hear Ange, like every morning, every night, all day. Most of us have got jobs. Most of us don't have our husbands at home, right? So we're thinking, all right, I can't do what Ange is saying she's doing. But I'm telling you guys, there's a version that you can do, right? There's a version of this that you can do when you say, you know what, I'm going to immerse myself. That maybe it's just saying to myself that if this thing really matters, for the next 60 days, or maybe it's like until the 90-day game plan here on the Gold Coast in October, I'm literally not going to watch TV until I'm done. I'm just going to lock it in. I'm going to say no more TV for the next 90 days or until that, right? Until I get this done. I said that I was going to do this. I've decided that before the 90-day game plan, I'm going to find 10 new teamies. And I'm not allowed to watch TV until I do that. And if it's 10 or it's 15 or it's 20, I know Ange is not watching TV, but honestly, guys, it's setting yourself a standard. Like, if you guys can't hear that, Ange sets herself a very high standard. And I also want to, you probably don't want me to tell them this, but Ange gets caught up in comparison too sometimes. So we all do. We all think we're not achieving. And then Ange says to me, I'm not achieving. I'm like, you need to stop right now. This is not a race. But it's nice to be in a hurry, right? It's not a race, but it's nice to be in a hurry. And, you know, when Eric shared to me, you know, after he said, you know, it's that massive action and going out and finding, you know, a whole bunch of new team in a short amount of time just to find, you know, he calls it the new class for 2019. who's going to be your new class for 2019? Go out there and find a whole bunch of new team that you can work with and just go for it and stop managing. If you've got team already that you're caught up managing them all, say, you know what, you've done what you can do for these people. You're here to support them, but go find a new class. I think it's really important.
And I can say from watching Ange, you know, it's definitely been, she's put in the hard work. And if you have a job, you're working hard anyway. And most people I meet don't love their jobs. If you do, you're very blessed. And chances are you're still working hard, even if you love your job. So yeah, we work hard, but the financial reward in return, in time, and even where Ange is at now, is so much greater in this industry. Your hard work is rewarded so much more. And even though Ange has been working really hard for the last 12 months, I'm hoping she's going to back me up on this, but she seems to have had one of the funnest years of her life as well. So, so we have so much fun in this business too while we're working hard. We do make sacrifices. I've got no idea what's happened on Home and Away. I mean, wasn't really watching Home and Away before this either, but like, I don't even know what's on real TV. Like, I have zero idea. Well, nothing on it. Yeah, I did watch Love Island. I feel like I'm entitled after 4 years in this business. But you know, there are sacrifices, but the fun, the joy, the growth, like the reward is so worth it. Are we ready to move on to a question?
Yeah,
I've got a question.
Gorilla.
So many of you would go, well, Angie's got a social media following, that's why she's been successful. I know for a fact that for the majority of the 16 months, she really didn't post on social media. She went to the people she already knew to start with, and she's really only just now beginning to own it on social media because she was having to maintain her income from her. She was too cool, but she also was still having to have an income coming in from the sponsorships that she was already locked down into. So social media isn't an excuse for anyone of, oh, well, that's why she's been successful. There's plenty of people in our team who have done what Ange has done who haven't had a following on social media. However, before coming into this business, you're clearly somewhat of even if it's accidental, an expert in the area. And some of the girls were asking before, you know, just if you could just give some basic social media do's and don'ts that would help people, no matter what their expert level is with social media, would just help them to do a better job in that area.
Do you mean when reaching out to people, or like how to build a following?
Just building a following, connecting with people.
What you're not posting, what you do post.
Yeah. I think, and you know, Kira, you say this a lot too, but you don't want to post FML posts unless you have value to add at the end of it. Like, you know, for a majority of the time that I've had my following, I've been going through health things in that time. And even when I've done a post about, okay, like I'm in hospital and I'm here for a week and I have to have surgery and I have a 2-year-old and I'm terrified, there was never just rant, I'm going to be negative. It was always, you know what, I'm going to talk about what I'm going through, but I'm going to give you what the tools are that I'm using to get out of it so that I don't stay in this place and I don't live in this state. So I think, like, you know, being real is so important, but don't be really annoying and negative. Be real with that's what FML stands for. I don't want to swear on here. But, you know, you want to be really real, but you also want to add value there. So it is all about, and you guys say it best, whoever adds the most value wins. And not just in your posting, but in your interaction with people. Like, it blows my mind the fact that there are 50-something thousand people following me, but like 1,000 like my photos. And I know that more see them because when you have a business page, you can actually see that stuff. And I'm like, where are the women supporting women? Where are the women commenting on each other's stuff? Where are the women saying, you know what, you're doing awesome, or you know what, I got a lot from that? And if you can be that woman who is supporting other people and really raising them up and sharing other people's stuff and saying, you know what, I admire you for what you did, or I think you're brave, or that was a lot of value to me. Like, if you can just be someone who is there on social media, being totally active and engaging with other people, not just trying to get people to engage with you. That's where the value comes in, because that's where you create relationships. And I think that a lot of the relationship building that I've been doing over the last 5 years will pay me back eventually. You know, some of them maybe won't join now, but maybe they will later, because I've always been someone who's been an advocate for helping other women who are trying to grow a business, or even just a following for the fun of it. So I think that, you know, not just looking at what can I get, how can I get people to follow me, how can I get people to like my photos, but how can I make someone else's day better? How can I let someone know that, you know, they impacted me? I think that that's always a really good way to go. And then, you know, just being mindful of what you post. Like, a selfie is great. I love selfies, because I'm like, I would rather people do selfies and feel beautiful than, you know, be taking photos of everyone else and not feel attractive. But, you know, you also want to be posting things that help other people and that other people want to share, and stuff that's going to go viral, and, you know, stuff that's visually appealing in the way that, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but maybe just, you know, kind of looking at your feed and thinking of it like a bit of an art gallery and making things cohesive. Because when someone goes to your page, the first thing they see is those 9 squares. And if they're kind of like not looking very good, or it's like quotes or just like 9 selfies, they're probably going to go to a different page. So, you know, in the way of like growing a following, just, you know, think about what you're seeing and what you would like to look at. And then, yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing has always been adding value and making an effort to make conversations with people who add value to my life.
It's interesting, and you actually reminded me of how I'm pretty sure how we actually got connected. And I was editing for Clean Eating magazine, and I think I was following you on social media. I think you only had about 10,000 followers at the time, and mine was probably half that. And I just loved what you did. And so I reached out to you and said, would you be interested in having a page in clean eating for free? And I got you a gig because I loved what you did. I added value. We got you in the magazine and added value back. And then you asked me to do something for your website. And then we just kept bumping into each other on the Gold Coast for the next 2 years, and just bit by bit just planted more seeds. And that initial interaction was before I was even in Juice Plus. But yeah. I just thought, I like this woman. She seems to be like-minded based on her social media. How can I add value? And, you know, I knew you being in that magazine was great value for you. And that was how the connection was born. And, you know, you guys might not have that exact opportunity, but maybe you love what someone does and you reach out and say, hey, I would love to share one of your recipes on my social media with my followers. Or like, or maybe you share something, you know, that's of value to them. Like, how can you start looking at people who are like-minded that you would love to connect with and start just adding value? I had no expectation of any return when I did that with Ange. I just genuinely loved what she did and thought, cool, it'd be cool to connect. And how can I add value to this person? And because of that, she's now in my business today. So don't have intention around it other than just start becoming an awesome person that adds value to the world. You know, Ange has the following she has because she's just added value to the world. And that all of us have to start somewhere with that. And actually, the people who were the biggest standout on the stage at Eric Worre were the ones that had the biggest hearts, and they genuinely just cared on people, and they just built relationships with so many people that they met for the first time, and they actually went out of their way to meet and connect with people constantly. So yeah, awesome tips.
Totally.
And
I just wanted to be her friend because she was on TV. I was like, oh my God. A MasterChef messaged me. It's so cool.
And she still hasn't cooked for you. One day. Love, Andrew, like when you look at, like, you've been here for 16 months, you've done such a great job of, you know, recruiting and building team and doing that. You know, if people are on here tonight and they're looking for insight, like if there was 2 or 3 tips, if you could have to start all over again, you just could only have 2 or 3 tips that you'd say, oh, no, I want to make sure I do that. What do you think they are for you?
My first tip would be to be out loud and proud from the beginning, because the leaders aren't doing well from being shy and hiding what they're doing. the leaders are doing well because they have faith and belief in this. And I know that, Adam, you'll find this funny. Some of my struggles in this have come from me sometimes being a bit ungrateful. So I definitely think that gratitude is something that you want to cultivate in this business. And I have a list of things on my wall that I want to be more grateful for in this business, because sometimes they're the things that I'm like, again. So, you know, like grateful for someone dropping out and saying this isn't the time for them, because maybe that's an opportunity for you to look at a way that you could have served them better, or maybe you could have done something differently, or maybe it's great they've dropped out because they weren't going to do anything and you were just going to do your head about them. Being grateful just for calls. You know, sometimes I do a lot of three-way calls and I'm like, another call, and I get a little bit stressed out. And then I have that thought again of like, oh my gosh, what if this is my person whose life I get to help change? What if this is the phone call that they talk about when they're hosting a training one day and they're like, you know, I spoke to this Angel and now my life has completely changed. Like, what if this is that? So having gratitude for that, having gratitude for, I love how Eric Worre said it yesterday, having gratitude for the objections, because it allows you to create rapport with people. It allows you to dig deeper into what their fears are and find out what it is that they're looking for or not looking for. You know, we're so lucky when someone objects. If someone just signs up on the spot, it's kind of like, are you really like in this? Like, you really, do you not know what you're doing? You could be signing your life away. You know, grateful for the difficulties, the challenges, the face down moments, because you get to grow as a person. Grateful for creation, you know, like the innovation we get to have in this business and the way we get to, I don't know, we have to step outside our box. We get to be entrepreneurs, and like that, you know, joy is the ultimate creator. So having that gratitude for the fact that we get to create on a daily basis, whether it's a way to think of, you know, how to talk to someone, or it's, you know, a new post or anything, we get to create, and we get to do this for a living if we're lucky enough to, or you will get to eventually if you work hard enough at it. And, you know, just the gratitude. And then, I don't know, I guess the last thing would probably be stop overvaluing what you're not and undervaluing what you are. So stop thinking that, you know, you're shy. Maybe you're a little bit shy. Don't overvalue that and be like, that's my thing, I'm shy. And it's such a small part of the greatness that is you. And stop undervaluing the incredible things about you. You know, everyone has so much goodness inside them, and sometimes the problem is you're just undervaluing the good that's already there, and you're wasting so much time focusing on the things that don't really matter. You know, being shy and maybe not having enough courage in a certain moment. It's like, start, you know, you switch that round as much as you can. Like, think about the things that are so incredible about you, even if they're tiny, and just start to overvalue them so that they grow and expand and become bigger parts of you. And then those little things that you keep thinking about, and, you know, the silly thing you said one day that you don't sleep over all night, you know, stop overvaluing that and start making those things small. You know, like, don't even think about the small things. Start becoming an expert in valuing the good in you, because I think that that's the best way that you can grow as a person, and you don't grow in this business if you don't grow as a person.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And I want to ask you, like, you've only been here for 16 months, and, you know, first year you've got all the awards, and it's all, you know, you're at 24 Club and away you go. But I want to ask you that, like, if there was, what do you think's been the most challenging moment, the biggest face down moment, and how have you been able to overcome that?
I don't know if I can pick one.
Well, pick one that you remember, that you think of first.
I think because it's probably most recent, I know that I personally get really caught up in everyone else's goals, and I really want to fix everything. And I think when you have a team under you, sometimes it's just not possible. And as much as you want to make everyone win and you want to make everyone succeed, you know, Adam and Kira have had to deal with what we've now named Bratty Brenda.
Yeah, like Brenda off 90210.
I've definitely been bratty Brenda for a little while, because sometimes you just get like this desire. You know, I've said it this whole call. It's like I've just got this dream of like, oh my gosh, the day when one of my girls or men are on here and they're sharing their incredible life-changing story. And so sometimes I do want it, not more than they do, but maybe like with a little bit more like, come on, like we can do this. And it's frustrating because I see it, but I'm at a different stage in my business, and I know that I need to understand that everyone's on their own journey, and I can only do what I can do, and I can only be support. I definitely can't make people do anything, not that I want to, but I think sometimes just letting go and having faith that, you know, people will have their own journey, and let them have their own journeys. If this is right for them, they'll come back to it. They'll see it. They'll grow. I feel like, you know, it's not up to me to make someone else succeed, and it's not up to me to decide to change their life. All I can do is be the person there that's supporting them and cheering them on and giving them what they need in the moment, but it's not up to me to do it. It's just up to me to be support. So that's probably been my most recent challenge to date.
And I think, you know, Anne shares that, guys, from a place of, I think when we bring on someone, like when we share the business with someone and they share their goals and aspirations, you know, we really want to be able to help. You know, you want to help your team member and you want to do everything. And often, you know, they'll come to you with a challenge or a little bit of a whinge or whatever's going on, right? They just want to like download. But I think often we feel like, and I know, you know, I certainly caught Ange in this moment feeling like she had to be the one with all the solutions. But you girls should know this, that you girls like to just vent sometimes and aren't looking for a solution. So why try to be a man and try to fix it every time? You know, sometimes us men get in trouble for being that type of person. Like you just want to like vent it out, and it's almost like, yep, give it to me. And I think it's important for us as an upline, as you know, somebody who has shared this business. One is, like Anne said, it's not your job to make someone successful. It's not your responsibility. We're all responsible for our own success. You're the only one that can make you successful. Your upline's job is to support you and guide you in the best way that they can based on what they've learnt up until now. It's not their job to, you know, to make you successful. And I say this is that because I think if you have that attitude, then I think sometimes if we have that attitude on our upline, then I think it stops us from building a team also, because we feel like we've got to be something for other people also. And that's not the case, guys. It really isn't the case. And, you know, even just Eric today, you know, I said, you know, is it the systems? Do you think systems have got anything to do with people's real success? And he goes, I'll be honest, not really. The systems are important, like they're good to have, but there are so many systems that are out there that are successful. So is it one system? No, there's lots of, I believe we've got a great system and it's there for you guys. So it's easy to share. But at the end of the day, it's about getting out there and helping as many people as you can. And the right people that want this at the right time will step into their greatness and go for this. And I want to encourage you guys, if you want to know why Anne has been able to build the business that she has, I told you guys right in the beginning, she found just short of 50 team members in 12 months. You know, I think the other thing that Ange did so well is that she decided that she wasn't going to try to ride 3 or 4 horses to the finish line. She decided, I'm going to have to keep a couple of horses moving forward, but there's one horse that I'm riding hard and I'm doing this thing. And I think it's a great analogy to think, guys, are you riding too many horses? I'm not saying, you know, let the rest of them out of the paddock. Like we all need, this is the beauty about our business, guys, it is a side hustle. And I mean this, don't leave your job until it's well and truly ready to do that. Don't do that. Don't put that pressure on yourself. It is not worth it. This business is meant to be a side hustle. It's meant to be something. I just want to share this about Jeff. I remember in the early days, Jeff Roberti said to me, I remember we were earning a good six-figure income at the time. I was still working, and I was finding it hard to go to work. Like, I just want to do this full time now. And I remember I got an opportunity to be on a call with Jeff, and I asked him, and I said, I want to ask you something. When do I leave my job? And he said, you know what? That's not my job to tell you that. And secondly, there's power in your story right now that your little side hustle is earning more than your full-time job, your full-time gig. You don't think that's powerful? You don't think that your little side hustle, when your side hustle's your money that you make in your side hustle is making more than your full-time job? You want to ride that out as much as you can while you still can. I'm not saying, and I think this is a really important thing to do, guys, is to really learn.
And when you do, if possible, it's better to like have goals where you get to buy back your time. Some jobs you can do that, you know, where you can just drop a day and then maybe another day and ease into it with goals where you just slowly buy back more and more time, which is essentially what we did. You know, we went from traditional business to Adam, you know, training his clients in someone else's business and just slowly worked out of it that way. And that reduces any pressure, because when you're desperate and you have to make this work, people feel that energy, and desperation is not an attractive quality. So you don't want to put yourself in that position. I mean, if you've got financial pressure and that inspires you into action and you've got certainty, that's one thing. But being completely desperate is another thing that you want to avoid.
Yeah. And I want to ask you just a question. Like, you are a mama. You're also a wife to a very good-looking individual. I want to ask, like, how do you juggle it all? Like, you know, like we talk about, you know, because men can get a little bit uptight about this, right? All of a sudden, like, it's all about this business, and we want to make sure that we fulfill on our obligations as a partner and a mum and those things. Like, how do you balance that stuff?
I don't. Who does? Is anyone here? I don't know.
There must be some things that you're conscious about around that. Like, you can't just be the game of golf I play with him every week that makes him happy. Like, are you, and I know you are making a conscious effort to schedule time with the girls as well. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's just trial and error. Like, for me, it was, you know, when I say I became obsessed with this, I've become obsessed with it in the moments that I can be obsessed with it. And, you know, sometimes I struggle with this, but 3 o'clock onwards, there's no calls until training's on, so that I can just be with the girls. And now I can be cooking dinner and I can be doing more things at home with them. And, you know, Hugh and I mean, it's like you said, Adam, we've never had more fun in our lives than we have this last year. And the fun parts have been with Hugh, and he's in this business just as much as I am, even though he's not the face, he's the brain behind it. I pretty much just talk, and right now I've got an earpiece in and he's feeding me the answers. But, you know, I think that he has a vested interest in my happiness, and I have a vested interest in his. We both want each other to be happy, and he understands that this business lights me up, because I've had to have that very straightforward conversation with him, because he does kind of suffer from ITC syndrome still, and that's okay, just a little bit. But he sees how happy I am with this, and I have verbalized how happy I am in this business, because at the end of the day, it is so fun. I have never had as much fun as I'm having now in every single moment. I've never laughed more than I have. I've definitely never drunk as much as I do now in a good way. But, you know, we know that we're happy, and there's nothing that a partner wants more than to see you happy. So if your partner's consistently seeing this stressing you out, and you being freaked out that you didn't get a teamie this week, or, you know, someone's not qualified and, oh my gosh, I'm going to murder them, and all of these things, your partner's going to say, okay, well, he's going to equate the business to not being good. Whereas, you know, Hugh has seen me come out of my shell. He's seen me become more fun. He's seen me less upset about, you know, not having enough girlfriends. Now I have too many girlfriends. I'm like, you guys need to go away. I've got too many people now. Before this, I would constantly cry to him that your girls don't like me, and I don't know why, but I don't have any friends, and all these people have their girlfriends, and he knows I'm happy. So he's happy. And then with the girls as well, you know, if I know that my focused effort is in school hours, I can put everything away, and like, you know, the girls on my team will know at 3 o'clock, I don't really write back to messages until like after training when I get on. So that's my time with them, you know, and that's my time where I'm so laser focused on them, because I need to be laser focused on this at times. So in order for them not to feel neglected or rejected, I need to be laser focused on them. So, you know, Friday afternoon is my date with my eldest, and I pick her up from school and we go and do something, just her and I. And, you know, that's our time. That's when we fill each other up. And same with you, you know, we at least once a week we have a date night, whether it's with friends or without friends. We always have that time together, and you just have to prioritize what it is that's important to you, but also show your partner how much you love this and how much it means to you. Because, you know, when I had that conversation with you of my coaching business is no longer making me happy and I'm stressed out about it and I don't like doing collaborations anymore, but there's this other thing over here which I know that we're not sure about it yet, but I think I'm going to try everything. Just being really honest with him and him knowing that was coming from the heart was what he needed to hear from me. And so now he's my number one fan, and you know, even when I'm down, he tries to coach me, and then I try and slap him, and I tell him to go and talk to Adam about why you don't coach your spouse, and things are good.
That's so awesome. So, and I want to give it, like, just so we can finish this, because I know it touched a little bit at GoPro, and I think it's like, how do you build a business and make sure that you fulfill on our obligations around us? You know, I would say this, you know, if your partner is giving you grief about your business, my thing is, how are you responsible for this? And I think we can all point the finger and say, I can't believe they're not supportive and I can't believe. But I think the first thing is, guys, is asking yourself, how am I responsible for this? How could I be better here and take some responsibility? Not saying it's all your responsibility, but what I'm saying is, how could I take some responsibility here? Where am I not meeting his or her needs? Whoever your partner is, right?
But usually if your partner is not being supportive, it's probably because they're not feeling supported.
Yeah.
And usually that's our unresourceful response. You're not doing it for me, so I'm not doing it for you. And so it's our job to go first at being resourceful, even though we really don't want to and we think it's their fault and they should go first, and why should I go first? It's them. But you going first will change your relationship. So do you even know what their needs are? Do you even know how they feel supported? One of the best things we did for our relationship was reading the book and taking the quiz, the 5 love languages. We have completely opposite love languages, and we fought for the first 4 years of our relationship, terrible fights, because we're just like, I don't feel like you love me. I don't feel like you love me. We just didn't speak the same language, and it absolutely saved our relationship. But it serves us in this business when we're busy, because I don't need to spend 8 hours with Adam for him to be happy. There's some really simple things that I can do that make him feel supported and fulfilled and loved, so that I have the support from him to go and do a Boss Babes event and to go and be present with the girls and to work on my business and squeeze it all in somehow. So you've got to go first is my number one tip, and to make sure. And the other thing is, have you asked them from the heart, like Ange said? Have you actually had a heartfelt conversation? My tip is go first. Be the first person to meet their needs and show up for them and make them feel supported. Do that for 2 weeks and see how that transforms your relationship. Then go to them and speak to them from the heart and just say, this is really important to me. You don't have to be involved. There's zero expectations from me, but please, would you just support me? And then set up some boundaries together. You know, maybe you do need boundaries. Maybe it's not even with your husband. Maybe it's with your kids. Maybe they're the ones that are getting annoyed every time you look at your phone. I know Madeline, the other night, we hadn't seen the girls all weekend because of GoPro. We got home, we had some dinner, and we had some connection time on the couch, and Adam picked up his phone, and Maddie called him out on it, didn't she?
Yeah.
He's like, Daddy, you're not being, what did she say? You're not being present right now. You're on your phone. We're supposed to be having family time. And Adam was like, oh, I'm sorry, darling, you're so right. And he just acknowledged her for that and thanked her and put his phone down and became present. So, you know, do you need to say to your partner, you know what, if you could just give me Monday night training and we do our event on Wednesday or whenever it might be, and you have me for the other nights. But I just want your support on those nights that you know I'm going to be engaged in the business. But on Tuesday night, we're going to do what you need. And for some men, that is just sit next to them while they watch whatever it is that they want to watch, and because quality time is their thing. Or maybe it's an act of service, or whatever their thing is. Maybe you haven't told them enough times today that you love them, they're amazing, they're incredible. That's his. He's like, he thinks I never tell him. I'm like, are you kidding me? I feel like I said it 10 times today. You can never say it enough if words of affirmation is their love language.
Yeah, I think, look, it's important. I honestly, this is not a relationship coaching session. We're not trying to coach you guys. We're sharing what worked for us. And I want to be honest, guys, in the early stage of our relationship, we really struggled. Like, if it wasn't for us having a kid, I don't know if we would have made it through, to be honest. It would have been easy to just go, another crazy bitch, I'm out of here. And you would have said another asshole and we're out of here. And, that would have been the end. But for whatever reason, it was what it was. And we really went and did some work. And, one of the biggest, the 5 love languages, guys, and I think, mean it, you got to go first. I don't care. I know you want, but it's not me. I get it. But is that serving you? Is that serving you, that behavior?
Is having an incredible relationship more important than being right?
Yeah, and we're still not perfect, guys. I know that when Kira is feeling like a bit whingy and whiny, like women get, right? Sometimes, I know there's a lot of you guys. I know I'm responsible for some of that. What I'm really hearing, is that I'm not meeting her needs somewhere. I haven't shown her in the way that she wants to be shown how love is, and the same goes. The thing is, guys, that it's up to us to go first. I feel is if we get better at fulfilling on the needs that our partner is looking for, you can do whatever you want. The best coaching I ever got from my mate Scott was, buddy, if you just got the basics right about fulfilling on your wife's love languages and knowing what the rules are of the game, what are the 5 things that fill her up? Little things, medium things, big things, extra big things. You can watch football twice a week. You can play golf once a week because she feels full. And I know you girls are saying, I wish you could hear this. And I don't suggest that you just say, you got to listen to what Adam's got to say. That's not going to help me in any way. But I think we've all got to say, where can I take responsibility? It's about me go first, and not for a day and go, I did it and it didn't work. I mean, literally do it for 3 months. Totally go first. And even when your partner doesn't show up in the way that you want, doesn't mean that you're like, that's it, I'm not going to show up anymore. It's about continuing to be committed and playful out. And what I know is that when we do this, is that life becomes so much better. If you want the support them. Maybe it is sitting down. And I know if girls, I know you're like, I'm going to get him to do the 5 love language thing. I want to give you an inside tip. When you want to do that shit, he thinks that there's something must be broken. And the worst thing that could happen to any man is that he thinks something's broken. Because the man's job all his life is to fix shit. And when something's broken, it's wrong. So maybe it's just about being that you guys are just investigating. Hey, I'd love to do this. I came across this. I felt like it was interesting. We should do this. Be playful. Have fun around it. Not like we need to do this, right? When we need to do it, it's like something's wrong. But we're like, hey, I came across this thing and it seemed kind of cool. And guy, not like I heard Adam and Kira talk about, I would never do that, right?
Then he's really going to.
And then he's like, what, Adam and Kira? I'm sick of telling him. That is not going to work.
One of the other things that comes to mind, I think a lot of men, the 3 C's, the worst things that women can do to their men, and we all do it, is to criticize, control, and what's the other one? I've got it on my thing, babe, so I don't forget not to do it, and being closed off. And so criticize, control, and being closed off to your man. If you're doing those things, there's 0 chance he's going to love you being on team training. But one of the things that you can do, we talk about managing your time and scheduling. like, do you go to your partner and say, babe, you work so hard. No, what is the one thing that you want support on every week that you would love to do that fills your cup? Adams, you guys know, is that one game of golf where I don't whinge and complain. He wants to, but you're pushing the limit there. But I can't whinge and complain about it. It's like the one thing that I support him, I bend over backwards to make sure it happens. But the reverse side of that is he fulfills on that for me as well. He knows when he's responsible to show up for the kids and to not ask questions because I'm having my time out. And you might have to go first for a while on that, though, to receive it in return. You know, what is it that your partner loves to do? But because he works so hard, you then kind of control him when he comes home because you think you've been home, and rightfully so, by the way, that you've been at home with the kids all day and so it's their turn and how dare they have any fun outside of the family. That's how I used to feel when he worked even hard, you know, in our traditional business. But we do need to find those opportunities for each other in the relationship and, you know, and also for each other together. I think one of the best things that we did early on in our relationship with the support of Karina and Scott, actually, who many of you know, is that we did date night swaps. And in our diary was always a date night coming up. And we would support each other by looking up after each other's kids because neither of us had much support that we trusted outside of each other. And that allowed us to maintain our connection around the chaos that was in our life back then. And so many couples, through the struggle of survival mode, they lose connection because they're not making the time to be together because either they can't afford the babysitter and the date night or whatever it might be. Half the time we wouldn't go somewhere to spend money. We'd just go on a beach walk or do the things that you can't do anymore once you've got babies. So, you know, schedule time for him to have time out or her, and schedule time together where you are not closed off to them, where you're reaching out and you open up your heart and your presence for them to connect with them. It's so incredibly important. And I can tell you, when Adam's played golf and his love languages are met, he could not care less what I do with my time. And the same will happen if you're with someone who is awesome and worthy of you and supportive of you. You can create that in your relationship as well.
And just an insight, like I know those that do have partners and you're like, I wish they'd become more involved. Like if you're on here tonight, trust me, they're involved. Like they're supporting you. You've got everything that you could ask for. And it's not your job to get them involved or convince them to do that. They'll come in their own time. And I'll be honest, guys, you know, many of you guys know this, but Kira took a good 7 months before she kindly decided that she was going to get involved. And it might just be, hey, why don't you come to this event? Why don't you come to the social event? Why don't you just come along? Like, just come along as check it. Like, just get into the community. Come to the event. Let's get the kids looked after. I've already organized it. You don't have to worry about it. I've already organized it, and just tag along and sit in the room and, you know, not like you're going to come see it. Like he's like, no, I don't want to come see it. Like, but just come along. I'd love to be with you. So I think it's a really important thing to remember. You know, like we want you guys that, you know, that your partners are supported, but we've got to be smart about how we approach this and not just have this expectation with not taking any sort of responsibility along the way. I think it's really important. So, and I know, you know, kind of sort of gone on a bit of a rant about that, but I think, you know, Ange and Hugh have done that so well. And, you know, it's been so great to watch both of them, not only Ange, but, you know, Hugh has an awesome role in what they're doing and he's doing a phenomenal job. And, you know, I take my hat off to him every time I see him about how an amazing job he's doing at supporting. And I know we all want this, but, you know, it takes two to do that, and don't just setting the expectation without taking responsibility. So other than that, love you all.
Thanks, Ange.
And I can't wait to see you guys. I can't wait to be. We are at GoPro this week. We are spending 4 days with Eric Warre. So we can't wait for Monday night and what we're going to share with you guys. Time to take Team FreeStyle next level. Let's do this. Let's get 1,000 people qualified in Team FreeStyle over the next 12, 18 months. I'm super excited to do that, and I'm so committed to help you guys, you know, be a part of that momentum and wave, what that can be for every single one of you guys. So, let's talk soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Ange. Let's give Anne some love, by the way. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, everyone. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. Love you, girlfriend.
Go to bed now, Ange. Don't work. Go to bed.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Thanks, Ange.